Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. It's great to talk to you. My name is Doug Chamberlain. Work here at NetApp in product marketing. And today I want to talk a little bit more about really bringing yourself to success with end-user computing, right? Getting past the virtual desktop. Talk a little bit more about how NetApp HCI has a little different platform that may help you with that project. When we look at end-user computing, we know that we have some business challenges, right? We know that management is going to give us these very tight deadlines. They're going to ask us a little bit more about why we're dealing with all these independent platforms. Why do we have all these different support contracts? All the complexity that's involved with actually delivering to what management is trying to do, right? They're trying to look at how they can add more, what they can do to actually bring more to the business and actually have all the applications that the end user needs right next to all the virtual desktops. But certainly there's some challenges there from a technology standpoint as well. So not only do we have these management challenges that we're trying to resolve, we also have these technology changes. We know that as we're trying to add a new application to our existing desktop environment, that can be very tricky. A lot of re-architecture may be involved. I know that I've tuned my pods to work for a certain type of desktop. Now you're asking me to add another type of desktop, or a database, or an application. There's a lot of re-architecture that we may need to have to deal with that is time-consuming and difficult. And we also know that as we're adding these new workloads, if we add them to existing platforms, sometimes there's a great deal of resource contention. And so now we have to worry about these new workloads consuming existing resources. What happens when I have this going on? I know the management is really excited about us being much more fluid, much more agile, really delivering better environment for our end users, but it gets very difficult from our side as technologists to keep up with that. At NetApp, one of the things that we've seen over the years working with virtual environments is that storage is often one of the big complexities that keeps us from being able to move forward. So what we want to talk about a little bit more today is what's going on and how what we've done at NetApp with NetApp HCI really does give you that operational simplicity that you need to be able to stay ahead of those projects, to be able to scale and keep up with the new things that are going on, to be able to respond to your end users, and more importantly, to make sure that those performance issues that you may have as you're growing your environment, as you're adding new desktops, as you're adding databases, those homegrown applications, to be able to make sure that the performance is predictable across all those new applications as well. So stepping back a little bit, let's talk about what we're doing, right? I mean, we're trying to get to a much more of a private cloud-like experience, not only for our users, but for us as well as managers, to be able to actually have a system that will scale with us very easily. As management asks us to do new projects, we want to be able to grow that platform, easily scale out. With NetApp HCI, what we do uniquely is actually scale, compute, and storage independently. Because I think we know as we're adding desktops, we don't need a lot more storage because we're doing link clones, or we're doing something that really doesn't require much more than a lot more computing power. But then there's new applications or new databases that we add that are going to give us more data, and we need to be able to just expand our storage. With NetApp HCI, we've designed it to be able to scale non-disruptively in either one of those dimensions. It gives you more flexibility to better respond to exactly how you're going to grow this end-user computing environment, supporting more and more workloads. Now, one of the challenges we know with doing this is how are we going to grow at the storage layer as well as the compute layer? Right, we've been doing this in VMware for years as far as being able to add new compute to our existing environment, but the storage sometimes gets to be complex. And with NetApp HCI, we remove that complexity, scale out very similarly. When we're adding new nodes in the storage side, we're growing that pool of availability that we take from. Just like we would at the compute layer, we're going to do the same at the storage layer, which really gives us some great opportunities to be able to grow and to grow easily. Right? We're trying to eliminate that complexity. When management asks us to do something, we're trying to be able to respond quickly. By growing a single pool of storage, it does help us on the storage side to be able to do that. Now, the other thing that we know that's a huge challenge with end-user computing, and especially around doing virtual desktops next to things like databases, is at some point in time we're going to have a boot storm, and that may overtake a lot of the available resources. Right? There's never a DBA that likes to know that a desktop is going to run next to their database. Right? My database has to be up. It cannot go down. I'm not expecting it to go down. You've put desktops next to it, and all of a sudden, everybody turns up for work, and my database starts going downhill. My other applications start going downhill, and that means trouble tickets for you. Right? The DBA starts calling you. The end user starts calling you. Right? Applications aren't being responsive. what's going on. That's not something that is going to help you be successful building out an end user compute environment with mixed workloads. When we looked at how we could do things a little bit differently at NetApp, with our NetApp HCI, we're actually allocating the backend storage resources independently for each one of those applications. Every time I'm adding a new workload, I'm not only giving it the compute layer specifications it needs, but the storage layer as well. How much storage space do I need? How much IOP performance do I need out of that storage? And each workload is going to be isolated and protected from each other. So instead of having that big spike, that big downturn, that big resource contention issue from that noisy neighbor, I no longer have to think about what do I have to do to resolve that. I've actually preemptively set myself up for success. I've looked at my resource availability. I've allocated the resources properly, so every time I'm adding a new database, every time I'm adding a new desktop, every time a new homegrown application comes out, each one of those new workloads is going to have its own protected level of performance. And I know that I won't be dealing with any of this interference because each one of them has been protected from each other. By giving them their own resources, we help you get to that optimal experience. To be able to fire up those new desktops, to move from engineers from their physical to virtual, to help make sure that I'm expanding my call center, to make sure that all my new databases or my new applications all have the performance that they need to give the results that I'm expecting. So when management calls and says, I'm ready to do something next, I'm ready for those new projects, I want to push end user computing forward, what we hear is, I can do this. I know that at the end of the day, every new project I'm going to be incrementally able to scale. I need more compute, I'm going to add more compute. I need more storage, I'm only going to add more storage. I know that I can shape exactly what I'm delivering from a platform to the exact needs of the business. When I look at that as well, not only am I eliminating the storage migrations, taking a lot off my table, right? Eliminating the effort that I have to put into building this system out, I also know that the end users are going to get the results that they need. I'm able to deliver each application very predictable performance. When I think about the challenges of moving to VDI, what I've done to create these different pods for each desktop and the databases and the applications all sitting on different platforms, those are kind of going away. Now I have the ability to, any single platform, deliver predictable performance for all these various applications. Each workload will work as expected, as predicted, exactly what we need, and anytime I want to make those changes, I can, because I'm doing it on a single platform. All of these features are going to be accessible through all of my VMware tools. I just go right into where I'm comfortable, whether I'm going all the way through vRealize operations, I'm using Log Insight, I can use those tools to be predictable, to be ahead of myself, or I just go into vSphere and provision what I need. So all this means that we can do something different for this move from VDI to end user computing. When we're trying to add more desktops, we're trying to add applications and databases, I now have a platform that has been designed to grow with me, eliminating some of the headaches that we've had in the past, trying to actually address the needs of this end user computing initiative. So we're happy to really talk to you about this because at NetApp we're very proud of what we've done to give you that next generation end user computing platform. Thanks so much. Appreciate your time. Any questions? Yes?